In 2015, Bungie released their third and to this day most revolutionary DLC. With that came the King's Fall raid, and years later we are discussing those who have best exemplified their greatness against the Taken King. Straight out of New Hampshire, we will begin with our segment guest to start King's Fall, Sekuo. Sekuo is a 3-time world record holder and member of the team that broke the 20-minute barrier for King's Fall. One of the best Orb Gen players over the last several years, and owner of a 1-hour flat time, my good friend joins us here today. What's your initial reactions to hearing you are voted in to be one of the 100 greatest Destiny 1 raiders of all time?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I did not think I was getting in, so to get in was pretty fire. That was dope to hear. I'm pretty proud considering how long I've been in the community. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's pretty cool.
That's great to hear. So, definitely the most notable thing, certainly in recent times, as to the surface level knowledge of why you're here, is going to be the sub 20-minute barrier break. What was kind of like your journey to getting into these teams, as well as getting the record where it is today?
My journey started off with my good friend Riku Shiesty, or as everyone knows him, X Ultimate X Riku. He invited me to do speeds and never did a single fucking one with me. He has not, to this day, not done one. But he introduced me to some pretty big ballers that I'm very happy to be friends with to this day, Fieri and Taco. And they taught me everything from being, a bad budget to eventually being King's Fall record material. So I started off when I got my first record at 21 minutes 10 seconds for King's Fall. That was with our replacement backup for Fieri at the time being Axon. And then literally less than 24 hours later, we went and got the 2101. After that, we took a break for a bit and then lost the record to PlayStation with a 2038 and I think maybe one or two other records that were minor improvements, until we decided we were going to run again and eventually got 1952.
Sek was a cool guy. He kind of did all the carry rules, but, at the same time, he was good at them. He's gotten a couple KF records. He had, he had one record that stood for a while.
Did 1952 last a while? Because that's the most recent one that he has.
I think so, yeah. That one lasted quite a bit. He was good. He was pretty good at, pretty much all of them, but, he never really did anything exceptional. At the roles that he did do, he was good at them. Never really messed up on transition that much. He was pretty good at daughters. There was never a problem with him on the team.
All in all, any closing thoughts on Sekuo?
Sekuo was always there to make sure that if it was ever quiet for more than 20 seconds, it wasn't anymore.
Thank you for your input. A 10-time world record holder, King 32 Slayer is a part of the 100 greatest raiders. King was critical to discovering the King's Fall Aura duplication, and most recently tied the 1929 KF record time. Joining him are two of his teammates, and we will start with Jugger. Jugger joined King on several of those PlayStation King's Fall records, and helped create the totem strats that we use today. Jugger set 6 world records, most of which came from King's Fall. 5 world records and 5 King's records, we have You Loved. You Loved helped in the Aura dupe strats and has a scorching 56-minute, 23-second speed rank. King actually had, like, a huge part of help in this. Not so much, like, at the start when we were making the list itself, but, like, later on in, like, patching holes with, like, record totals from the PlayStation guys. He's been very, very helpful with that part. An all-around great guy, and as we pointed out in his intro segment, a lot of King's Fall world records. There's very few people, actually, who have more King's Fall world records in their career than he does. I think that, like, if you were to make what I'm going to call, like, a starting 6 King's Fall team, like, if you were going to grab every single player who's ever played King's Fall and you wanted to do a speed run, who would be on that team? I think King 32 Slayer is a member of that King's Fall team. And I say this knowing he's going to be watching this. Thank you for everything you've done, King. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on getting in the top 100.
I love King. Me and King are like best buds. Same with Jugger. Jugger's also a really cool guy. Both of them, or I guess King is very, very good at King's Fall. He is, like I said, like very, very good. Like me and him would kind of go back and forth on who's better at King's Fall. In terms of Titan, I think me and him are very, very close when it comes to King's Fall. I definitely would not run without him. He doesn't know Hunter, but I mean, he doesn't really need to. He's probably going to be on Titan anyway. Just all around, never really messed up. He kind of went through a rough patch when it came to Relics, but I mean, past Relics, one of the best players, one of the best King's Fall players for sure. Jugger, he was a good right floating. He kind of got a little bit iffy at the end because of his, like, he smoked weed hella, but I mean, in general, that guy was really good. I kind of feel bad because I kind of took over his role, but like as a player, I mean, he had a bunch of the PS records. Very good player. And he's also really cool. I love that guy.
You Loved is a really good description of what this project is as a whole, because it was only early on in his record speedrunning career that he was doing a lot of the hard jobs, especially when he was doing IRB, which he was, fine at. I think it's fair to admit. But he's been moving around within the King's Fall, which by itself adds value to his teams, because now they can get, whoever they have running whoever they have specializing in IRB, or whoever they want to do whatever role across all the encounters. If he can be flexible within it, that adds value, because that means they can have a top player doing carry or replacement stuff while they have specialists doing some of the harder jobs. And I think that gets lost a lot in the whole grand process of, well, what did they do in the record? It's not like he can't do these things. It's just he didn't, because they have Brady to just do all of the running right now in IRB. Kind of like Atomic, he displays, greatness, and that's why he's on this list. Greatness over talent, as we've been saying for probably the last year at this point. But congratulations to You Loved. We just discussed 3 of your competitors. Now let's talk about a teammate of yours, Secuo. It is the man out of Flavortown, California. The Fieri guy is the next person we bring into this King's Fall group. Owning an outstanding speedrunning career, Fieri achieved 10 world records, 8 of which were from King's Fall. The former IRB runner for the King's record teams and member of the 1929 current record squad, Secuo, I'll let you start on your friend here.
Oh, where do I start? Fieri's been a pretty big mentor of mine since I started running, and he was the former IRB runner who did get replaced for others, but I mean, even if he can't skate the fastest, he's still damn well consistent, and I love to see him take the scenic route on Relics.
I mean, yeah, it should be noted, like, even if you're not a very fast skater, to be put on IRB is, like, one of the most important roles you can have for King's Fall Speed, certainly today. So,
Yes.
To not be a great skater and still, have that spot to your name, I think that's pretty cool.
Not to mention the fact that he has shaken hands with Keemstar. That is a pretty cool moment.
Hey, we might as well add that to his career resume.
He asked me to. I had to sneak it in somewhere.
Can't tell if Fury likes me or not. Me and Fury, we were like really good friends at the start. Me and him would always fight over the sixth spot. They would always pick Fury, so he was really good.
But he's the
got his
melting goat.
Yeah. He got me and him were fighting over, like I said, their sixth spot, and he got his first record before me, Kings Fall, and I mean, I was so proud of him. I was like hyping him up and shit. Really cool guy, very good at relics. Always kind of had me struggling to get better. I don't know, that guy, me and him kind of made each other better, I feel like, in my opinion. I would get better than him, then he'd get better than me. Like, we would go back and forth, but really cool guy, really good at Kings Fall. Definitely, for sure, really good at Kings Fall.
He's the all-time leader in Kings Fall clears, and by no small margin. As the only member of the 3000 Kings Fall Clear Club, God's Guacamole is an all-time Kings Fall great. God's Guac has perfected every fundamental at every encounter, and doing so primarily as a hunter. Gods also has the reputation as one of the most impactful players for any Kings Fall team, especially in the 390 difficulty. I would really like to start off with one thing that he is also in a category of 1-4. If you have ever played a 390 Oryx with this guy, it's like having a 7th player to triple up in middle. So, Sekuo, I don't know if you remember this, but the glitch that, I believe it was Axis Bake who discovered this, where you can pop your hammers and then you'll be in third person while torn between dimensions and you can shoot your guns and stuff like that.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, that was one of the theoretical strategies when we were trying to come up with low man daughter strats, but it was pretty quickly tossed out. But this guy refused to abandon the idea that it was useful for something, so he brings it into Oryx and perfected it. He runs around and kills ogres at the same time because he is so consistent with barring early tears and stuff like that, or just RNG related stuff. He will run around the plates and sleeper ogres at the same time. And there is nobody else who can do that. Certainly no one else who can do it with regularity. There's not a ton a single person can do in a 390 Kings Fall LFG, especially at Oryx. But man, this guy's going to try.
I've played with him here and there. The couple of times I have played with him, really cool guy, like I said with everybody else. But he would just kind of chill, and he would always be playing with his friends, and they would just casually do 390s, just fucking back to back with ease, like sub fucking 40 LFGs without even trying. Very good LFG KF player for sure.
Quite possibly the most versatile player to touch Kings Fall, Pumpkin is a Kings Fall legend. 1,500 clears in a sub-hour speed rank, Pump held 5 Kings Fall world records as the most dynamic Hunter-Titan combo of his generation. An easy addition to the 100 greatest raiders. We will kick it off to you, Mice.
Pump is notorious for missing Nighthawk. Whenever he didn't brick, he... very good. I mean, he's had a lot of records, so I mean, that's a feat that not a lot of people can have. He's had quite a few records in both Wrath and Kings Fall. He was a very good Kings Fall player. He was very good at relics, for sure. I kind of feel bad because, I mean, the way he quit wasn't a very nice way of quitting, but I mean, as a player, he was very good at King's Fall. I'm not gonna deny it.
Pump was like, it wasn't just King's Fall. If there was a Wrath or a King's Fall, Pump was often in it. He did a lot of budgets and he ran a lot back when Lagoons were playing. I don't want to make any false claims, but I'm pretty sure he's like probably done the most running out of a lot of people. He's ran a lot of shit.
Pumpkin and I ended on some of the worst terms I've ever ended a friendship on, especially one as close as I was with Pump for a while. Because I was upset with my own personal standing within, or my own personal viewing within the Destiny speedrunning community, and I just wanted nothing to do with anything speedrunning related, and I like forcefully cut myself off from it. And I took 1.5 years off, and in that time, Pumpkin built one of the most impressive speedrunning resumes, like, of anybody in that time frame. Because when I came back and I was like, you know, catching up on the process of, hey, what did I miss out on? What was I not present for? Especially when making this project, what was I not present for? So that I could have a greater understanding of what I'm talking about when I get to the people who peaked in for the majority of 2021 and the first half of 2022 when I was still kind of tuning out all of runs. And it's like, yeah, no, this guy, like, his ceiling when I left the game was like, hey, he could be the best King's Fall player in the world. He could be the best hunter. He could be the best hunter and titan. And he fulfilled that completely. I'm very, very impressed with what he did. Congratulations on him to making the top 100, fully deserving of it. I'm very, very happy to see him in here. Thought there were only 3 PlayStation players in the King's Fall Hall of Fame? Well, think again, because Gerwin454 is here. Inventor of the Gerwin slide and a multiple-time King's Fall world record holder, he was a unanimous addition and joins OK Alex. Alex has 6 career King's Fall world records and currently owns 3 of the 4 raid records, as well as the fastest raid report of 53 minutes 38 seconds. Generating orbs for a lot of those teams was Boots Electrics. Boots was alongside him for 3 of those King's Fall times, and as well as aiding strat development for most of the modern records. Let's begin on these 3 here.
Gerwin made a lot of the strats. He made the fucking Death Warp, I think, too, because I was on PlayStation and they were like, can you do Gerwin? And I thought they were talking about, like,
The Gerwin
the
slide.
ship slide, and I was like, yeah. I was like, I mean, I guess. And then they were like, oh, like Death Warp, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even know he made that, but, I mean, he was just very good at, like, transition stuff. Like, he made Gerwin slide. Just remember, like, everybody trying to get good at it. Everybody was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, in order to even do Gerwin, like, as a, like, the first person to do it, it's a very hard slide in general, and for him to do it without nobody ever doing it before, like, that's kind of crazy to do. Had a couple of records before. Very good KF player.
Boots, I'm gonna talk on Boots here because I'm gonna defend my fellow Orb Jenner. Boots is much more well-rounded than a lot of people might give him credit for. He runs a lot of King's Fall because that's kind of what's been run, not necessarily exclusively, but like it's been the most prominently run raid of the last like 8 months or so, and that's where they've gotten most of the records. But Boots he's pretty much good at everything that I've seen him try, and he's not on Orb Gen out of a sense of like, you know, he can't do anything else. Very, very clearly can, but more so of like the talent pool in raiding today is just so high that all-time players are just left on it by default more so than like, you know, needing another person or needing to get carried. So that's what I have to say for him. Alex is one of the best players currently in the game. He's very, very good at Hunter, very, very good at any of the Titan roles. And we talked about this during the well-rounded segment earlier with, like, you know, the almost rotating title of greatest raider of all time. If you were to make the list of, like, who's next, who's got like some of the shortest paths to taking Z-Rear's title of greatest raider of all time, Alex is up there. We talked about Shiflet as well, having a very short one. Of course, Twoozy, if he continues to keep playing, he is next in line. But Alex is, like, up there for greatest raider ever. An Oryx solo specialist and well-versed King's Fall player, Valkyrim was voted into this list. Valkyrim held the record for most decorated King's Fall solo player for over a year until other players in our solo category came to compete with him. An all-time great Hunter player, I'll start with your thoughts, Allenwall.
Pretty cool to see all that solo work stuff emerge and develop. It's kind of interesting how for a number of years something can be so boring and challenging and frustrating to most of the player base, and then with this type of game, one person just takes it and flips it on its head and they become the guy. He was kind of the Oryx guy for a while. Not much of a speedrunner, but he did some interesting shit. Thought outside the box.
I mean, I've raided with him quite a few times, and despite him being quite the character, you know, he always made the raid feel a bit easier. That's all I can say on him.
I think Valkyrim is a really good glue guy for a team in the case that, you know, he's not always going to be the guy making the flashiest plays or deadlifting a budget the hardest. But if you need a quality Hunter for your team, you know, no matter if you're going for sub 30 or sub, 24 times, he's a great player to add to that. He's a very, very underrated Hunter Shade player. He didn't like post all his clips of like super fast Shade kills or something like that. But anytime we're in a run, he gets it done. You know, he was right up there with at his time. ATL and Bosch were probably the best Hunters out there. He was right up with them. I'm gonna have to talk about myself in the third person for a second because that's what the script says. Formerly known as Curvy Mage 78, Sarmia 78 is a 3-time King's Fall world record holder and one of 4 players to have held a record in each King's Fall difficulty. Sarmia broke the power slide ammo limit 11 times and is the second best pure power slider of all time. $2,000 clears, a 1 hour 7-minute time, an all-time fundamentals freak, and the slowest Titan skater in the top 100. So I've had quite some time to think about what I want to say here, what I want to use this time for. I'd like to start with saying I'm very, very thankful that the 14 people who voted on me determined I am worthy of this recognition. But I think there's a lot of people who were very talented players and have a more deserving spot than me here. And I want to also take some time to thank all the people that got me to this position here. The first is I want to thank the group of friends that I started out Destiny with. I wouldn't have gotten into Destiny without them. That would be Jetster J, Banified, and Dallin12378. I'm very, very happy that all of you took the times out of your days to spend some time in Crucible with me, accumulating absurd amounts of red dots in King's Fall, and I love all of you so much. Pradith, you were a cornerstone in me being able to have a friend on Destiny and feel comfortable amongst all the turmoil in my personal life. Clawweefy, thank you for pushing me to take a mental break from the game. Of course, my best friend Trinity. I'm only in a position to make this video because of your tireless support. I think I need to thank Tuzi. I don't become even a tenth of the raider I am if he didn't have the faith to throw me into the fire and see how I do in the sub 20 vogs or whatever. Thank you all so much. I mean this so much. This game has meant so much to me for the last 8 years that I've been playing it. This community means so much to me. This project means so much to me. I wouldn't be here without any of you guys. Thank you so much. And I am very, very grateful to receive this honor. Listrick is a 7-time world record holder, 5-time King's Fall world record holder, and owner of the 1929 current King's record. Listrick achieved a world record first in 2020 and most recently in August of this year. An elite route runner and owner of a 1-hour flat time, one of my favorite additions to these King's Fall legends.
Listrick's a decent player. I mean, there's not really much exceptional about him. I mean, he can kind of do what there is to do. Not more, not less. But I mean, with Secula, there's no bad thing with him on the team.
Listrick is kind of categoryless in terms of what he can do in King's Fall. He isn't Fury on Meltings, he isn't Taco on IRB, not even Danger on Orb Gen. But what he does do is play a 9 out of 10 at everything off Hunter in the raid. It's no coincidence that he has the current record because he's so valuable to the current teams now.
I had to fight pretty hard to get Listrick into the top 100. I thought he was a very deserving pick, and I was present, of course, when doing the voting process, and anytime a person didn't know something about them or wanted more information on a certain top 200 person that we had there, I was there to provide that. And I think Sekulo put it pretty well when he goes how Listrick is categoryless. I've seen Listrick play just about everything within a speedrun, or at least within a King's Fall. He's really good at that. Is very versatile within a King's Fall, but he's never been he's going to get the most cracked, right 6 part you'll ever see, because he's not that good. He's not Corey at that, or whoever you want to put as your best right part. But for the most part, he's usually given what I would call above average roles, in the sense that it's whoever's kind of leading the team in the speedrun is going to give the player those kind of roles because they trust them more, which is going to be the desync for totems. He'll be put on meltings if we don't have Fieri for that. He can do all of those things. He just most of the time doesn't need to, but King's Fall is one of those raids where it's you could probably do you can divvy up 90% of the workload between 4 or 5 people. So often in these speedruns, at every level, world record, budget, LFG, you name it, there's going to be one person who just ends up not doing as much, but that's not a reflection of them as a player, and that has a lot to do with how Listrick has been perceived, both when he was getting into speedrunning in 2020 and then what he's been doing in the last couple of years. 8 world records, 4 from King's Fall, HP 5007 is here. HP set many of his records in low man categories and was also the first person to ever record a 370 siege engine solo. He is joined by Don Antonio HM26. The Don currently holds every single minor category King's Fall record and is now a member of the 100 Greatest Raiders. I want to get this point out here because there's literally nothing I can do within the credit sequence to truly say this, but nobody has been more helpful to me in this project than Don Antonio. Don is like this, he has such a good understanding of the history of speedrunning, especially since especially since he became a part of the community. It would be like, hey, I don't know how many world records player A has, and he goes, all right, let me think about it for a second, because he doesn't have all these written down. He just has this encyclopedia in his brain, and he would just go, all right, here's how many records, here's what the times were. Most of the time, he'll be able to get who was with him in that record, and like, I cannot tell you just how helpful that was for this project, because, like, I could, put down everyone's record totals, but they would be probably wildly inaccurate across most of the names. I would just be going off of SRC, what they've uploaded on YouTube, what I can remember personally. So thank you very, very much, Don, for all the help that you've given here. But as for player Don Antonio, he only ran minor categories because he was just interested in kind of all things speedrunning, and that never really amounted to, becoming part of the A team on the any percent categories. But it was just like, if you're running King's Fall, and I mean like any form of King's Fall, Don Antonio is going to be happy to join you, and he can do just about anything within it. I've never seen him do some of the jobs like Orb Gen, but anyway, Orb Gen. He's very good at right side relics. He's very good at Golgroth transition, even though he tends to not do the power slide, because he's done the he got the Sunbreaker one optimized so much. Yeah, very good player, deserving of this spot in my opinion. And thank you for your help with the project, Don.
Don's an interesting character. I know he tried for a very long time to get Death Warp under his belt. That guy would just go in and Death Warp transitions, and he was good at it. He was pretty good at relics. Nothing crazy, but I mean he was good enough. Before man, he was a good 4-man player for sure. I remember they asked me to be on the team, and I played with them for a little bit with like Paco, Don, and Fieri, and Don like never messed up that much, and Don was just like, he do what he needed to do.
HP recubbed my first Axis solo. If you go on my raid report and you see that Warlock solo on my fucking Wrath, I have never soloed that motherfucker on a Warlock. That was HP. HP also, I believe, he might have been in the first fire teams to get 2-man 1-phase hard mode Axis. It's like, I don't really remember him being a King's Fall player. I thought he was one of the well-respected people when I first started.
Yeah, HP was mostly just like a present and very prominent community member during like the glitching revolution, when like breaching was released to the public and being implemented in speedruns, when Park Glitch was first becoming viable. He was kind of there for that, and because of that, accumulated a lot of world's first solo challenges in that way. But when you look at his speedrunning resume, it's like a lot of all over the place, especially in the low man category stuff. Like I know he did a Trio Vogue. He's probably done like pre-AOT or like some micro Crota challenges, but it was like Wrath challenges, other minor category stuff, and then 6 and 4-man King's Fall. He did a lot of that, and it's because of those that he's in the top 100.
I like to teach the world to sing with me.